Welcome to a day in the Word. Today's reading is Second Chronicles chapter 22 through Second Chronicles chapter 24. Second Chronicles chapter 22. The people of Jerusalem chose Ahaziah to be the new king in Joram's place. Ahaziah was Joram's youngest son. The people who came with the Arabs to attack Jehoram's camp killed all of Jehoram's older sons. So Ahaziah began to rule in Judah. He was 22 years old when he began to rule. He ruled 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah. Her father's name was Omri. Ahaziah also lived the way Ahab's family lived because his mother encouraged him to do wrong things. Ahaziah did evil in the Lord's sight. That is what Ahab's family did. Ahab's family gave advice to Ahaziah after Ahaziah's father died. They gave Ahaziah bad advice that led to his death. Ahaziah followed the advice of Ahab's family and joined King Joram to fight against King Hazael from Aram. They fought near the town of Ramoth in Gilead. Joram, who was the son of King Ahab of Israel, was wounded in the battle. He went back to the town of Jezreel to heal from the wounds he suffered at Ramoth. King Ahaziah went there later to visit him. God caused Ahaziah's death when he went to visit Joram. Ahaziah arrived and went out with Joram to meet Jehu, son of Nimshi. The Lord chose Jehu to destroy Ahab's family. Jehu was punishing Ahab's family. He found the leaders of Judah and Ahaziah's relatives who served Ahaziah. He killed the leaders of Judah and Ahaziah's relatives. Then Jehu looked for Ahaziah. Jehu's men caught him when he tried to hide in the town of Samaria. They brought him to Jehu. They killed Ahaziah and buried him. They said Ahaziah is the descendant of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat followed the Lord with all his heart. Ahaziah's family had no power to hold the kingdom of Judah together. Athaliah was Ahaziah's mother. When she saw that her son was dead, she killed all the king's children in Judah. But Jehoshaphat took Ahaziah's son Joash and hid him. Jehoshaphat put Joash and his nurse in the inside bedroom. Jehoshaphat was King Joram's daughter. She was also Jehoiada's wife. Jehoiada was a priest, and Jehoshaphat was Ahaziah's sister. Athaliah did not kill Joash because Jehoshaphat hid him. Joash was hidden with the priests in God's temple for 6 years. During that time, Athaliah ruled over the land as queen. Second Chronicles chapter 23. After 6 years, Jehoiada showed his strength and made an agreement with the captains. These captains were Azariah, son of Jeroham, Ishmael, son of Johanan, Azariah, son of Obed, Messiah, son of Adiah, and Elishaphat, son of Zikri. They went around in Judah and gathered the Levites from all the towns of Judah. They also gathered the leaders of the families of Israel. Then they went to Jerusalem. All the people met together, made an agreement with the king in God's temple. Jehoiada said to the people, "The king's son will rule." That is what the Lord promised about David's descendants. Now, this is what you must do. One third of you priests and Levites who go on duty on the Sabbath will guard the doors, and one third of you will be at the king's palace, and one third of you will be at the foundation gate. But all the other people will stay in the yards of the Lord's temple. Only the priests and Levites who serve in the Lord's temple will be in the Lord's temple are permitted to enter it. They are the only ones who have been made holy. Don't let anyone else enter. All the others must do only the work the Lord has given them. The Levites must stay near the king. Every man must have his sword with him. If anyone tries to enter the temple, kill that person. You must stay with the king everywhere he goes. The Levites and all the people of Judah obeyed all that Jehoiada the priest commanded. Jehoiada the priest did not excuse anyone from the groups of the priests. So, so each captain and all his men came in on the Sabbath with those who went out on the Sabbath. Jehoiada the priest gave the spears and the large and small shields that belonged to King David to the officers. The weapons were kept in God's temple. Then Jehoiada told the men where to stand. Every man had his weapon in his hand. The men stood all the way from the right side of the temple to the left side of the temple. They stood near the altar and the temple and near the king. They brought out the king's son and put the crown on him. They gave him a copy of the agreement. Then they made Joash king. Jehoiada and his sons anointed Joash and said, "Long live the king." Athaliah heard the noise of the people running to the temple and praising the king. She came into the Lord's temple to the people. She looked and saw the king standing by his column at the front entrance. The officers and the men who blew trumpets were near the king. The people of the land were happy and blowing trumpets. The singers were playing on instruments of music. They led the people in singing praises. Then Athaliah tore her clothes and said, "Treason, treason." Jehoiada the priest brought out the army captains. He said to them, "Take Athaliah outside among the army. Use your swords to kill anyone who follows her." Then the priest warned the soldiers, "Don't kill Athaliah in the Lord's temple." Then those men grabbed Athaliah when she came to the entrance of the horse gate at the king's palace. Then they killed her there. Then Jehoiada made an agreement with all the people and the king. They all agreed that they all would be the Lord's people. All the people went into the temple of the idol Baal and tore it down. They also broke the altars and idols that were in Baal's temple. They killed Mattan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars of Baal. Then Jehoiada chose the priests to be responsible for the Lord's temple. The priests were Levites, and David had given them the job of being responsible for the Lord's temple. They were to offer the burnt offerings to the Lord the way the law of Moses commanded. They offered the sacrifices with much joy and singing, the way David commanded. Jehoiada put guards at the gates of the Lord's temple to prevent any unclean person from entering the temple. Jehoiada took the army captains, the leaders, the rulers of the people, and all the people of the land with him. Then Jehoiada took the king out of the Lord's temple. They went through the upper gate to the king's palace and put the king on the throne. All the people of Judah were very happy, and the city of Jerusalem had peace, because Athaliah was killed with the sword. Second Chronicles chapter 24. Joash was 7 years old when he became king. He ruled 40 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebiah. Zebiah was from the town of Beersheba. Joash did right in front of the Lord as long as Jehoiada the priest was living. Jehoiada chose two wives for Joash. Joash had sons and daughters. Then later on, Joash decided to rebuild the Lord's temple. Joash called the priests and the Levites together. He said to them, "Go out to the towns of Judah and gather the money all the Israelites pay every year. Use that money to rebuild your God's temple. Hurry and do this." But the Levites didn't hurry. So King Joash called Jehoiada the leading priest. The king said, "Jehoiada, why haven't you made the Levites bring in the tax money from Judah and Jerusalem? Moses, the Lord's servant, and the Israelites used that tax money for the tent of the agreement. In the past, Athaliah's sons broke into God's temple and used the holy things in the Lord's temple for their worship of the Baal gods. Athaliah was a very wicked woman. King Joash gave a command for a box to be made and put outside the gate at the Lord's temple. Then the Levites made an announcement in Judah and Jerusalem. They told the people to bring in the tax money for the Lord. That tax money is what Moses, the servant of God, had required the Israelites to give while they were in the desert. All the leaders and the people were happy. They brought their money and put it in the box. They continued giving until the box was full. Then the Levites would take the box to the king's officials. They saw that the box was full of money. The king's secretary and the leading priest officer came and took the money out of the box. Then they took the box back to its place again. They did this often and gathered much money. Then King Joash and Jehoiada gave the money to the people who worked on the Lord's temple. And the people who worked on the Lord's temple hired skilled wood carvers and carpenters to rebuild the Lord's temple. They also hired workers who knew how to work with iron and bronze to rebuild the Lord's temple. The men who supervised the work were very faithful. The work to rebuild the temple was successful. They built God's temple the way it was before, and they made it stronger. When the workers finished, they brought the money that was left to King Joash and Jehoiada. They used that money to make things for the Lord's temple. These things were used for the service in the temple and for offering burnt offerings. They also made bowls and other things from gold and silver. The priest offered burnt offerings in the Lord's temple every day while Jehoiada was alive. Jehoiada became old. He had a very long life, and he died when he was 130 years old. The people buried Jehoiada in the city of David, where the kings are buried. The people buried Jehoiada there because in his life he did much good in Israel for God and for God's temple. After Jehoiada died, the leaders of Judah came and bowed to King Joash. The king listened to the leaders. They all stopped worshiping at the temple of the Lord, the God their ancestors worshiped. Instead, they started worshiping Asherah poles and other idols. Because they sinned in this way, God was angry with the people of Judah and Jerusalem. God sent prophets to the people to bring them back to the Lord. The prophets warned them, but they refused to listen. The Spirit of God filled Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada the priest, and he stood in front of the people and said, "This is what God says. Why do you people refuse to obey the Lord's commands? You will not be successful. You have left the Lord, so he has also left you." But the people made plans against Zechariah. The king commanded the people to kill Zechariah, so they threw rocks at him until he was dead. The people did this in the courtyard of the Lord's temple. Joash the king didn't remember Jehoiada's kindness to him. Jehoiada was Zechariah's father, but Joash killed Zechariah, Jehoiada's son. Before Zechariah died, he said, "May the Lord see what you are doing and punish you." At the end of the year, the Arameans army at the end of the year, the Aramean army came against Joash. They attacked Judah and Jerusalem and killed all the leaders of the people. They sent all the valuable things to the king of Damascus. The Aramean army came with only a small group of men, but the Lord let them defeat the much larger army of Judah. This was a punishment for Joash because the people of Judah had left the Lord, the God their ancestors worshipped. When the Arameans left Joash, he was badly wounded. His own servants made plans against him. They did this because Joash killed Zechariah, the son of Jehoiada the priest. The servants killed Joash on his own bed. After he died, the people buried him in the city of David, but not in the place where the kings are buried. These are the servants who made plans against Joash: Zabad and Jehozabad. Zabad's mother was Shemith, a woman from Ammon, and Jehozabad's mother was Shemrith from Moab. The story about Joash's sons, the great prophecies against him, and how he rebuilt God's temple are written in the book, Commentary on the Kings. Joash's son Amaziah became the new king after him. Thank you for joining A Day in the Word Bible in a Year series. Please subscribe, like, comment, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Until next time, Shalom.